An epidemic rages throughout the youth of America, one that nobody seems to bother addressing. Poor student performance disrupts learning in the United States classrooms today, predominantly caused by deplorable student work ethic and apathy, not teacher failure. As students' test scores decline, the states encourage increased standardization to combat poor student performance. The resulting standardized, knowledge-assessing tests put in place frequently force teachers to wrap their curriculums around these tests in order to protect their jobs. The students' test scores can dramatically affect teachers' careers because student performance on these standardized exams influences teacher assessments. Students frequently become disinterested in the resulting teach-to-the-test classrooms, leading to further apathy and thus grade decline. The vicious circle sets in as teachers struggle to help students succeed on the high-stakes assessments set on their shoulders by the government, to the further disinterest of students. Parents point a finger toward the teachers for their children's failing grades, and teachers helplessly point upward at the government cogs that turn out curriculums without their input. All the while, not one person casts a shred of doubt on the questionable quality of our students. Ralph Waldo Emerson once suggested in one of his essays that there was a trend toward a mechanized education system. He cited the era's heavy stress on obedience and strict teachers as the reason. Stricter teachers may be accomplished at teaching information, but frequently students leave such classes lacking vital skills to employ the knowledge they have gained. While an education system focusing on integrity today would be ideal, everyone can hope for overarching themes of creativity and skill mastery rather than the content-driven machinations now in place. Sir Ken Robinson, a modern education speaker, suggests that efforts to improve America's education system, such as the No Child Left Behind Act, are misguided at best. But this all points to problems with the education systems, to the conditions that lend themselves to creating lazy, apathetic students. They don't point to solutions for such lack of work ethic. So what, besides standardization, creates poor student work ethic? Why do our schools suffer from a blight of dispassionate students? A teacher in Virginia sees a less than auspicious future for U.S.-born students in his classroom. He tells us, "What many of the American kids I taught did not have was the motivation, the self-discipline, or the work ethic of foreign-born kids." In a poll of his students, half as many Americans said studying hard was the key to doing well in math as Japanese and Taiwanese students. Americans instead cited a good teacher as being responsible for their successes or failures. American students view responsibility for knowledge as something that isn't theirs. Another teacher noted that, in his community, when teens received pay raises, nearly all would cut their hours to receive the same pay for fewer hours of work. Teachers like these two bemoan how culturally lazy American students are, preferring to complain to their parents about grades rather than work for them. The United States is not a dilapidated factory devoid of functioning machines or skilled students, however. Work ethic runs strong with some groups, but local education systems still seem determined to devalue these students by placing other stumbling blocks in their way. Holding the title of valedictorian is a coveted position for the academically inclined, but schools are making it harder and harder for students with initiative to achieve such a goal. Margaret Talbot followed one case where, because part of her schooling took place at home, a student was not initially named valedictorian, though she had the highest GPA. Numerous instances of vicious arguments, even court battles over the valedictorian title, exist because of circumstances such as these. Districts are making it impressively difficult for accomplished students to receive the recognition they deserve. Some schools have abolished the title entirely, naming such ferocious fights as their reason, while others name multiple valedictorians. Whatever tactic a school takes, however, it seems that our modern education system not only indulges a lazy culture of students, it discourages honest, hard work. The heart of the problem is rooted in American civilization. Over the last few decades, cultural shifts have created a generation of students who do not appreciate the results of hard work the way their predecessors did. In a letter written to announce a long-avoided resignation, one teacher wrote about her childhood, "I learned effort." This miserable educator was brokenhearted. Brokenhearted because of a system where few students wanted to learn, and even her administration wouldn't let her teach more than the most bleached curriculum. If we as Americans don't change the system, no good will come of it. A descending spiral of apathetic students and overstressed teachers will lead to an ineffectual culture, one that cannot compete with the rest of the world. As our students learn how to fail in their rigorless schools, they are set up to fail more catastrophically later in life. Why don't we care about the consequences of our children's apathy? Our nation is breeding generations of dependent group thinkers. Will any of our kids be able to recall what they learned in school, or think on their feet based on prior knowledge? A generation without the will to learn is a generation that can be told what to do, a generation that can be led.